Hey everybody, it's Rob here, back with another Wax Wednesday stuff I picked up. This week, it has been my intention to kind of slow down, but, lo and behold, I did not slow down this week. In fact, if anything, lo and behold, I ramped it up a little bit, but I'll explain how that happened. Stick with me here. This is my little stream, and that's what we talk about, what I picked up. I'm a vinyl collector, and sometimes that takes me down some crazy roads. So, and I'm open to anything. So here we go. Let's see what I got this week. Okay, buckle in. It's quite a ride. First up, oh yeah, Galaxie 500's debut album, Today, which first came out in 1988. This is a repress from 2009. Nice copy. A real nice record. Three-piece band from Boston. As far as, if you're familiar with that shoegaze, that short-lived shoegaze movement in the early 90s, probably at its peak with bands like My Bloody Valentine. These guys are kind of the start of that, I would have to say anyway. And and you listen to their sound and you say, man, I can take traces of a lot of this from the Velvet Underground. So again, the ripple effect of the Velvets kind of felt in Galaxie 500 as well. But yeah, if you like the songs kind of slow with a lot of open chording and the vocals with a lot of reverb, almost a dreamlike kind of sound, well, then these are your guys. Galaxie 500. They did it very well. And they put out 3 albums, I believe. This Is Our Music and On Fire. And again, this is the debut. It has Flowers, which is the opening track. I like that one a lot. Tugboat, which would be their first single prior to this album coming out. And Don't Let Our Youth Go to Waste, which is them kind of paying homage to Jonathan Richman, who's another Massachusetts lad. So anyway, Galaxie 500 Today on 2020 Records. 2020. Yeah, a reissue. And got a good price on this one, too, at Backstreet. So anyway, the next couple of albums are from Backstreet. Let's continue, shall we? Oh boy, where do I begin here? Where do I begin? Well, we begin with the cover. This cover has been taunting and teasing me for the last few weeks. Whenever I go into Backstreet, I go, what the heck is this? What the... It kind of looks like it could be a psychedelic record. It kind of looks like it could be a children's record. I don't know. Last time I was in a Backstreet, I said, Eric, what is this? What is this Boule Noir? That's the name of the group. And he looked it up, and it's Francophone disco from the mid-'70s. And you know what? It's really, really good. Out of these records that I picked up last Friday, this would be the one I've thrown on the most. I've enjoyed it. What did I find out about Boule Noir? Well, Boule Noir is essentially George Thurston, I believe the gentleman's name is. He was a black kid who was orphaned at birth and adopted by a family in rural Quebec. And it was there that he first got, his first, taste of music. And someone gave him a guitar, and he kind of saved him from a life of petty crime, because that's the direction he was kind of going in, and discovered music and started to, make his own music. And he's been given the nickname of the Quebec Stevie Wonder. This George Thurston fellow. Anyway, he is the driving force behind Boule Noir. Translation, Boule Noir, it's Quebec slang for what the Afro was. Boule Noir translates to black ball. So kind of making reference to the hairstyle, probably that George wore, and probably did stand out somewhat in rural Quebec, I'm going to guess. Anyway, uh, he's gone on to, have quite a career. He's not super well known in English speaking Canada, but in French Canada, and I believe in France as well. He's very well known. He has worked with guys like Michel Pagliaro and Robert Charlebois. But again, he's of that era. This is from 1975, and it's fun. It's funky. It doesn't sound super canned. It's like a lot of disco did. This sounds very, organically played and played very well. I enjoyed this. Like I say, I've listened to this way more than I thought I would. But yeah, Boule Noir, thumbs up for me. I thought it was great. Also, incidentally, from 1975, and this, man, the Boule Noir record was $5. So was this one. I couldn't leave it there. Again, trying to pick up those records that I used to have when I was a kid. This would have been probably one of the first 10 records that I knew really, really well. And like a lot of people, I fell in love with it. It's this one here. Queen's A Night at the Opera. This is obviously a used copy. I don't think they could honestly say this was from a smoke-free home, because Night at the Opera is a white album, like this is a white album. You see the difference? This is cream-colored at best and stained, but a classic old Electra pressing it was, with the butterfly, the chrysalis logo, which dates it as mid-70s pressing. Excuse me. This is Queen's Sgt. Pepper's, without question. They take a lot of chances. They show exactly what they can do, and they can do a lot. They cover metal. There's folk on here. There's prog. There's campy stuff. There's, of course, their signature song, Bohemian Rhapsody, which even has, elements of opera in it. Hence the title, Night at the Opera. I'm imagining the pitch when they went to the record label and started talking about this project, and said, as far as our first single, the Bohemian Rhapsody is what it's going to be called. It's a piano-based murder ballad to start out. It has an operatic breakdown. Oh yeah, it's almost 6 minutes long, and it'll be the most expensive single, the most expensive single ever made up until this point. When do we get started? But that's just the cockiness and confidence of a Freddie Mercury, though, right? Guy with that much talent. Probably walked pretty tall when he talked to those music executives. And of course, there was no weak link in Queen. They were all superb. And this is Queen probably at their best. I love Bohemian Rhapsody. Honestly, I could care if I ever hear that song ever again. But you look at stuff like Death on Two Legs is on here. I love the song 39. The Prophet song is just killer. It's trippy, but it also is very heavy towards the end. It's really good. Sweet Lady is on here, man. Sweet like I'm some kind of cheese. Yeah, these guys had a little bit of cheese to them. They had a sense of humor to go along with that. They did everything right with Night at the Opera. So enough said about Queen and their classic. So if you have a copy of this, you know what I'm talking about. If you're not familiar with the full album and only know Bohemian Rhapsody, do yourself a favor and dive a little deeper into this one. Okay, those were the 3 records that I got at Backstreet. 2 of them were like $5, and the the Galaxie 500 was I think around 17 or 18. So I didn't overdo it this week. So I was a good boy. But I bought those on Friday. On Saturday, I got a note from Maritime Vinyl Auction saying, "Oh yeah, Rob, one of your records arrived in Fredericton." So I went to the pickup spot. Honestly, I'd forgotten what album this could be. I had no idea. Because when you win an auction and actually receive a record, it sometimes can take a few weeks, and sometimes you bid and you just go, yeah, sure, and you kind of forget about it. Well, that's kind of what I did with this one, but super glad I got it. It is Van Halen's Women and Children First. Women and Children First. This one was a rough one when it arrived. It had a split seam, but I have since taken the glue stick to it. It seems to be holding, so fix that. This here album is probably one of my two favorite Van Halen records, and I like Van Halen. I like the David Lee Roth era of Van Halen. But you can break that Van Halen down into three parts. The first two albums, Van Halen and Van Halen 2, are very much party records. We have arrived. Let's get this thing going. Let's have a good time. That's what those first two albums are. By the time they get to album 5 and 6, that's Diver Down and 1984, and they are superstars. Like, those guys are huge at that point. They're arguably the biggest band on the planet. So from there, the humble beginnings to where they would end up. But in the middle is a bit of a dark period for Van Halen. The tone definitely got a little darker with this album, and even more so with the follow-up album to this, which would be Fair Warning, which is my favorite Van Halen record. But those two albums have some teeth to them, if you ask me. I really enjoy them. And I'm glad to have this one back in the collection, much like the Queen record, one that I remember from, when I was a kid. But Van Halen back then. And it's the David Lee Roth Van Halen that I really enjoy because, I don't know, I just love the showbiz element of it. Like, his shtick was shtick. Sammy, I jumped off as soon as Sammy came on board, really, and that's I've had arguments with Van Halen fans about this, but I'm sorry, I just don't even count the Sammy Hagar years. I know they sold a lot of records, and I know they had a lot of hits, probably more of each than the David Lee Roth years, but that'll always be the Van Halen that I know and love, and it probably depends on what Van Halen you grew up with, but I thought David Lee Roth was super funny. And hey, what's wrong with smiling a little bit? But at this point of Van Halen, probably the relationship between the rest of the band and David Lee is starting to fracture a little bit. I'm told by the time Fair Warning did begin production that they really weren't on speaking terms very much anymore. So anyway, that is what I picked up over the last week or so. So I actually got 4 when I thought I only got 3. So bad me. Your home is where your records are, so when you go home tonight, throw one on. That's it for Wax Wednesday this week. What I picked up, that's what I picked up. And if you picked up something, let me know in the comment section. And otherwise, we'll talk to you in 7. Peace out, Boy Scout.